about my girl T.S. Madison, who was honored with the 2024 Logo Legend. I think it's an award or whatever the case is, but I watched it. It was like, who they had? A couple of people. They had Billy Eichner was there. There was another guy that was there. I'm not really familiar. There was two people on the right side of her. Was another trans woman and it was another black guy. First of all, I think he goes by he and them pronouns. First of all, he was cute. I was like, who is that? Sexy chocolate man. And then I'm not familiar with those two. And I don't know if I have the names off the top of my head. Let me see, because I think I might know. I did leave that whole situation open unless I closed it. And now I don't know where I put it. Nevertheless, I'll find out in a second. But let me just set up the situation. So Johnny Sibley was there because Johnny Sibley is another one that I like. Shout out to the Virgo gang because he's part of the Virgo situation. Billy Eichner was there, Mo Hart was there, and they all sat around and gave TS her flowers, which I absolutely loved. Then, and then of course RuPaul was, paid tribute. He wasn't there, but he spoke via tablet. And I'm trying to remember who else spoke via tablet because it was two people. Oh, Tina Knowles. That's what it was. Tina Knowles, Beyonce mama, spoke to her and gave her her flowers and everything. And then they talked a little bit about, the Renaissance situation and how she was sampled and how all of a sudden, how she went from being a queen, 22 inches of weave from the Vine era to where she is now and her glow up. And one of the things I have to say is that, I've always talked about how Wendy Williams has been someone who has been a mentor and an inspiration in regards of like creativity and gossip and being in the YouTube gossip space. I really feel like after watching and seeing what T.S. Madison has been doing, that really pushed me to go out and do this more than any other person. So she's always been an inspiration. And, whenever I posted stories about her on my website, she has retweeted, she has commented, she's always sent a thank you. Whenever I repost her stuff on Instagram, she hits I get a heart. And then she'll comment on certain things. So we've been kind of going back and forth. I've never had the opportunity to meet her. Hopefully the next time when they have the Drag Race premiere, I'll actually get to run into her and give her flowers on the red carpet or whatever, whenever we run into each other at like a gala or whatever the case is. So I'm fingers crossed, I'm putting out in the universe. That's what's going to happen in 2025. So when I actually get to grace Maddie's presence, I'm definitely going to bow down and give her flowers and be like, bitch, you are inspiration. I love the fact, and I've always been saying this for the longest, the fact that, while we have certain trans women who really are but just really positive and say things in a way where it's not going to ruffle people's feathers, particularly like a Laverne Cox or someone of that nature. I've always said that T.S. Madison, even though, they're both black trans women, the roads intertwine, and there needs to be other sides of the coin where we see someone who is unapologetically themselves, unfiltered, and can also occupy the same space as someone who doesn't really be out here cussing, telling people to go fuck themselves and all the other stuff, which is what T has to do when you try to come for her. But when you can be authentically yourself and be celebrated for it, that to me is like the greatest situation of all. So one of the things that I want to do is I want to show y'all this clip from Logo, because that's what it was on. But chill, I couldn't find Logo on my TV if I wanted to. So I basically went on the website and I pulled it up, but it was on YouTube. So if you ever get a chance, I could actually watch the whole thing on YouTube. It was like 30 minutes, so it's not going to take too much of your time. But when her mother got up there, Miss Mary, and gave her flowers, child, when I tell you I ugly cried. I ugly cried because I'm like, we need, and this is why I wanted to do this, because I feel like we need to be more positive and show true positivity in this stuff. And when I consistently drive home the fact that we have so many great examples, 3 so far that I could think of parents who have trans children who love on them unconditionally. We have Miss Mary with T.S. Madison. We have Marlon Wayans, who we talked about most recently with his trans son. And then we have Dwayne Wade with his daughter, Zaya. Or Zaya, however you say it. Tomato. I think it's Zaya Wade. So we'll go with that. But anyway, let's go to this clip and we'll come back and talk.
I am so proud of you. From the very moment that gave birth to you from my womb, I loved you. And I love you more now. Our relationship haven't always been this way. But I'm so thankful that I listened to God. Because you always been my baby. You'll always be my baby. I don't care how old you get, no matter how many changes happen. That day you walked out that house, and I didn't understand why you walked away until we did your T.S. Madison experience. I learned so much that day why you had to walk away. You had to go find yourself. And I always knew you was something special about you, that you had a purpose. And I just didn't know what it was. And I'm looking at how many lives you touch. And I just want you to know I love you and how proud I am of you, baby.
I love you too, Mama.
I am so proud.
Okay. So yeah, so basically I wanted to post that because I was like, I'm all about like we're not just going to just do roast and gags on this show. We got to balance things out before we get to the roast and the gags, and we want to show a little positivity. So that's what I love about people like Miss Mary. Miss Mary is someone who is deeply religious. She is very much God fearing. She'll tell you, but when it comes to her child, she's not going to go against what a bunch of things that's said in the Bible, whatever, and just throw her child away because she's worrying about what the church people think, what her friends think, what all these other people think. It's like, no, that's my child, and I'm going to love my child unconditionally. And I wish there were more parents like that. Now, they also said that, a lot of times what we as queer people need to do, and I know like a lot of times we tend to try to hide who we are because we want to protect our family. We don't want to lose them or whatever the case is. But at the end of the day, we have to also live our life. And Miss Mary also said that, we also as queer people need to give parents the grace to come to terms with the changes or the things that they're not used to, which would be if they come out with a child of the LGBTQ spectrum. Because like I said many a times before, we don't wake up one morning and just decide, oh, you know what? I don't like being a boy anymore. I want to be a girl. Like, we don't just decide that one morning. It's just like you have those feelings, but then you don't know how to put words to it until you get older and you start to learn things. The same thing with being gay. It's like, no matter how many times you wave a coochie in my face, my dick is not going to get hard for one. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not going to tell you I'm a gold star gay because I'm not. I have slept with women in the past, but that was also because I wasn't comfortable enough to come to terms with my true authentic self. So it was sort of like that, trying to bury that part of me down below. Now you can't keep, dick and ass out of my face. It's like, I will truly clap some cheeks. So, where was I? Oh, so I don't know. It's just like 1 minute I go in there and all of a sudden I go on a tangent and I forget where I'm at. But anyway, so nevertheless, I get both sides. So as queer people, yes, give our parents the grace, by which I have done. My mother, she wasn't necessarily all that keen around her having a gay child, even though over the years there were people that would come to her, but your son is gay or whatever the case was, because I wasn't necessarily full on masculine. I had my butch queen vibes, which was like, 1 minute I have my masculine moments, the next thing I could pop, dip, and spin and do a dip on the floor. So, I wasn't trying to, or I was hiding, but not necessarily trying to hide who I was. I was trying to figure out who I was. But it's not up to other people to just go after someone and be like, well, your child gay, it's like people would literally whisper that to her. And it's like, stop doing that shit. Like, let kids figure out who they are. Stop always, some of you grown ass people need to stop trying to do these whole gotcha moments because you're looking for grist for your mill or little gossip. And give parents the grace, but also let those kids or whoever figure out who they are. So when they're ready to come out, there's no fear, there's no fear for them to do that, or they have to worry about possibly getting kicked out in the street. Because like we've said before on this show, we've had many times where there have been queer kids who, when they parents find out they're gay, or let's just say queer, because to me, I feel like queer, even though you learn that back in the day, and I didn't know this, well, I think I did know this, that queer was considered a slur. It was considered a bad word. It's like calling the N-word or a B or whatever, no, bitch or whatever the case is. But we reclaimed those words. Queer I always found like it was weird or unique or different or whatever the case was. So I always looked at, I love being unique. I love being different. I like not having to conform into certain societies so they don't look at me as like being afraid. I always like stuff like that. So I never shied away from the word. But now it's become a universal word. And to me, I'd rather use the word queer than LGBTQ, LMNOP. Like, who got time to be saying all them damn acronyms? Y'all be adding a new one every damn day. So queer to me just hits the it's just a broad word that y'all know it just is all inclusive, part of the community. So I say all this to say, huge congratulations to my girl TS. This has been a long time coming. She's finally getting her flowers. Success to her. I love seeing her on Drag Race. Please make her a permanent judge because I feel like that she could speak to the girls in a way that a Carson and Ross really does not understand, because TS is a trans woman of color who understands drag, who understands performance, who understands that whole world of what it's like to be trans or someone who's non-binary and that sort of thing, and just coming into that world and really speaking to them in a way that cis queer white men cannot understand. And we do need a little extra color up on it. Like, RuPaul should not be the only black girl on that panel. Like, so that's why I like when I guess they switch it up, and we really haven't been seeing as much as of Carson and Ross as much. I mean, we have on the All Stars, but not necessarily on regular drag. Look, after didn't Merle and what's his name run their course? What's his name? Santino. After a certain time, like, switch it up. We need a little life breathed into the show. So I say all this to say, as I said before, congratulations to you, TS. It is well deserved, and I'm looking forward to seeing what more you plan on bringing to, as a content creator, as an actor, as a performer, and just just from her, from the art of reading, because she just be reading and stuff online and saying certain things and giving citations and words of wisdom. It's just really resonated with a lot of people. So I guess because she is a child of someone who is of the church, you do speak in a way where it's almost like you're a pastor giving your sermon. Except she ain't trying to scam y'all out y'all coins like Bishop Whitehead and the rest of these heifers out here. So I say, well, let's just say, because I had to throw that dig at that queen who about to go to jail for 9 damn years for being a damn thief. And conning you hoes out of y'all coins and y'all being the fools and sending it to them. But anyway, let me know what y'all think of this story down below. And shout out to you, Tish. I got love for you, girl.